Hello and welcome back to the Case Learning Classroom. I'm Bill Kerr, a professor of entrepreneurial management at Harvard Business School, and this is the second case in the Harvard Business Case Study course. Let's talk about the survival rules of startups in our current era. There's no doubt that we are in an era of global entrepreneurship and innovation. Today, economic vitality and employment rate are dependent on startups, especially in China. Startups also bring innovation and new practices to their industries. Innovative leaders within mature organizations and even incumbent giants have much to learn from startups, including new business models, product design concepts, and team management methods. However, starting a business has never been easy. Financing is difficult, operations painful to establish, and growth difficult to achieve. If a startup is operating successfully in a new market, other startups, established companies, and industry giants often follow on their heels and quickly turn a blue ocean of opportunity into a fiercely competitive red ocean. Especially in difficult times of economic recessions and global epidemics, the risks and pressures on startups are even stronger. For example, in 2020, due to massive closures of gyms all around the world, ClassPass, a workout membership platform that tried to disrupt the American fitness business model, lost 95% of its revenue within just 10 days. At the time, many companies disappeared completely, from entrepreneurial stars to flagging small businesses. And what will happen in the future? How quickly will the economy recover? Even now, no one can say for sure. Startups are valuable, but their survival is precarious. So how can a startup launch, survive, and thrive? In the next 5 lessons, I'm going to share a Harvard Business School case study with you. It's about an international pharmaceutical company called Alvogen. Through the case, I will discuss several key issues of startups with you. How to deploy a strong corporate culture. How to empower the team through a performance management system. How to tolerate failure properly. How to develop a global expansion strategy, and finally, how to effectively manage the risks of startups. Alvogen is a generic drug company. Its founder, Robert Westman, launched Alvogen during the outbreak of the global financial crisis in 2008. Despite the dire economic conditions, the company scaled incredibly quickly and achieved revenues of $1.2 billion within its first 10 years. Robert Westman himself is a veteran of the pharmaceutical, logistic, and banking industries. He previously led the pharmaceutical giant Actavis. At the beginning of the 21st century, due to a series of mergers and acquisitions, half of global drug sales were controlled by the 10 largest pharmaceutical companies. Competition was fierce. No one at the time was optimistic about startups in the industry. But Westman saw the potential market for generic drugs. So in 2008, at the height of the global financial crisis, Westman boldly invested his own personal funds to establish Alvogen. Following Westman's plan, Alvogen set about producing a series of drugs, including its own drugs, existing drugs licensed from other companies, and early experiments for a type of biosimilar that requires reverse engineering of complex molecules. Westman hoped that Alvogen would offer alternatives to expensive patent drugs, and at the same time that it would become a frontier participant in the emerging field of biosimilars. Westman's first task was to build a strong leadership team. One by one, he invited former colleagues to join his new venture. Although his initial business plan was jotted down on a paper napkin, the people he called on didn't hesitate to quit their jobs and come to work for him. They were so confident in him and his vision for his new company. Since then, Westman has created a strong corporate culture and a high-performance, high-quality operating system for Alvogen. The company always delivers the right medicines to the right customers on time. This operational excellence is the core competitiveness of pharma companies, and Westman's team achieves it at a high level. We'll explore how these pieces were key to the company's rapid development. In 2011, Alvogen sold its first batch of products in the United States, and by 2013, it had been launched in 3 regions and 35 countries. By 2018, the company had 3,000 employees in the United States, Central and Eastern Europe, and the Asia-Pacific region. The company has maintained full manufacturing facilities in the United States, Taiwan, South Korea, and Romania. Westman has promoted his high-performance culture in all these areas, insisting on similar management methods for Alvogen's offices all around the world, and often conveying messages that promote unity to all employees. He and his leadership team also developed a strict performance management system to track results and coordinate the company's key activities. But with the rapid growth of the company, complexity followed. How should the subsidiary businesses operate in different countries? As they hired more and more employees around the world, how could Westman ensure that the corporate culture he valued was infused throughout the whole organization? How could he make sure that everyone in the company understood the priorities and goals that he had laid out? How can he manage all the risks facing the business? For the past 5 years, I've been teaching this case in my MBA classes, and students find it both interesting and practical. They're attracted by Westman's charisma, and they find his story a good mirror for them to reflect upon themselves as future leaders. Alvogen's story has a lot to teach us. That's particularly true when we compare a company like Alvogen, which relies on excellent operations to have a competitive advantage, with other companies that instead mostly rely on innovation, such as the Finnish game company Supercell. Through the following lessons, I will draw on these and other startup companies with different cultures, different methods, and different core competencies. Now that you've learned a little bit about Alvogen's story, let's talk about what we will discuss in the next few lessons. First of all, I want to talk to you about corporate culture. Whether leaders are aware of it or not, their organization has a culture that defines the experience and daily decision-making of all employees in the company, which is crucial when the company is growing rapidly. But opinions vary as to how much a leader can actually influence this culture. We'll look at how Westman has managed his own strong belief in a strong culture as Alvogen has scaled up, and compare that culture with the one at Supercell and at other companies. As important as this company's culture is, this software must be complemented by the company's hardware, that is, its performance management systems. In the third lesson, I'll tell you how Alvogen developed such a system. We'll also discuss how to decide when your company needs to build a performance management system and how to build it more effectively, involving all employees, and how to use it to empower the team. You might be thinking that the establishment of corporate culture and performance management system is to prevent team failure, and that's certainly true in Alvogen's case. But it isn't always so. Just like the Finnish game company Supercell I just mentioned, companies that rely heavily on innovation need to fail to learn and grow. This is how they learn about unknown markets. But the key is that companies need to know their own failure threshold. Are they like Alvogen or are they like Supercell? And learn from these mistakes. In Lesson 4, we will explore how your company can properly tolerate failure. Fast-growing startups such as Alvogen and Supercell will most likely face the question of whether to expand into overseas markets. However, many founders have not fully considered whether a global strategy is suitable for them, and if they want to pursue it, how they should localize their business to the characteristics of the different regions and different markets, especially when the future of globalization is highly uncertain. To reduce the risk of going global, in Lesson 5, I'll share with you a series of test questions to help you plan. Finally, I'll discuss with you how successful entrepreneurs manage risk. Many people would think that entrepreneurs are gamblers, that they get high returns just because they take high risks. But the truth is that successful entrepreneurs are masters of risk management. In Lesson 6, let's talk about how the best entrepreneurs identify the risks, distinguish those which must be resolved immediately from those that can be safely ignored. Here's your challenge question for this lesson. In the context of the outbreak of the global financial crisis in 2008 and the high degree of market uncertainty, how could Alvogen successfully survive and develop into today's scale? What are the main factors? Please leave your thoughts in the comment section.